So we're learning more about who has been able to get tested for coronavirus and who has not. And surprise, surprise, sure seems like those who are wealthy, powerful, well-connected, etc., have much more access to getting this test done so that they can have information about their health than your average American citizen. In particular, Saagar, 8 NBA teams, the whole team, the whole roster, whether they were symptomatic or not, somehow they all managed to get tested.
Yeah, this is completely outrageous. So these 8 teams, because they happen to come into contact with somebody, all get full tests of coronavirus. And meanwhile, you and I are hearing, how many stories do you know from people who are showing up at the hospital, who are sick as a dog, who are hacking up their lungs, runny nose, fever, textbook coronavirus symptoms, and are not getting tested? And yet asymptomatic NBA players are the ones who are getting tested. Congressmen are getting tested. All these other VIPs are getting tested. And everyday people are walking around completely unable to get a test. This is the height of hypocrisy. It just shows you exactly what is wrong right now with the healthcare system. And what really bothers me is that I'm seeing all of these reports about small ventilator companies in Seattle with very, very wealthy people who are going and trying to buy their own ventilators, despite the fact that, we don't have enough ventilators in the United, ensuring that they have that, or, rich people trying to go and buy, vaccine trials for the coronavirus and all. This is just completely ridiculous. And that's why actually yesterday I was really happy to see that they finally authorized the Department of Defense to release emergency ventilators that we have just in case, and over 1 million masks. And the other thing was that the president declared or authorized something called the Defense Production Act, which makes it so that if the federal government needs to buy products for the purpose of national defense, in this case to defeat the virus, that they're totally able to do that.
Yeah, they're able to ramp up production. Those are important. I didn't hear about that ventilator thing. I mean, it makes total sense. That's absolutely disgusting and immoral and wrong. Like, it's one thing to go and buy up the toilet paper, whatever, Right. I mean, I did the same thing. Like everybody else is buying toilet paper, I better buy some toilet paper too.
Yeah.
It's another thing to hoard essential medical supplies. I mean, think of how much sort of justifiable rage the Purell dude who was hoarding all the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
How much he got.
Imagine, now hoarding a ventilator.
That is honestly unconscionable. But yeah, on the testing piece, I mean, it's just one more example of the way that this country is structured and set up to work, and also the sense of entitlement of the elites in this country. I mean, they're so used to having private concierge care where the doctor comes to them and they have whatever they need, whatever they're interested in, it's all taken care of. And that system has continued to provide for them. Meanwhile, you have working people who don't have health care at all, who don't even have paid sick leave. So when they are feeling sick, they can't take off. And Congress is like, put a tiny Band-Aid on a part of that problem. But still, if you work for a company with 500 workers or more, you can't, they're exempt from this. I was reading accounts of workers at Amazon warehouses, which are, they're slammed right now. I mean, it's just insanely busy trying to keep up with demand because obviously everybody's at home. So there's ordering much more stuff online, including essential items, supplies and sort of like daily essentials. And these workers, they don't have they're saying that they don't have the hand sanitizer, they don't have the precautions they would need in place. They're working really long hours. So their bodies are super run down and stressed, and they're very concerned about their health and well-being. There was a Whole Foods worker, Whole Foods, of course, now being owned by Amazon, who said working at Whole Foods is hell right now. I mean, that's what they're going through on the one hand. And on the other hand, you have, asymptomatic NBA players who might have been in a room look, we've all been in a room with somebody with coronavirus at this point, and they're able to get tests where ordinary people aren't. I wouldn't even know, you and I were talking about this, friends and family who are showing symptoms. I don't even know what to recommend to them to do, to be honest with you, because you're unlikely, unless you have known to be in a room with somebody who tested positive, right, which is very few because there have been so few tests, or have overseas travel, you're not going to fit the criteria. Meanwhile, if you go to the emergency room, go to the doctor's office, you are taking whatever you are carrying out into the world. And you are also going into rooms where people who, if you don't have coronavirus, other people who may be are sitting there waiting with you in the room. So I'm not even sure what to advise in those situations.
I couldn't agree with you more. And that's what really bothers me too is this isn't even just a matter of a test that's widely available and that people are going about and trying to buy it. It's that some government official somewhere had a say in this decision, right? In the distribution of tests. Some
Yeah.
state government or somewhere, somehow the NBA was able to juice or juke the system in order to buy whatever they needed to buy in order to make sure that these players get tested. That's actually what bothers me more than anything. It's not even like hand sanitizer, like that guy who goes out there and just like buys whatever's in the CVS and then tries to start selling it on Amazon, although I do think that's wrong. It's that in this particular case that it actually reveals the corruption of richer people being able to just go and work the government system in order to get access to these tests, while you and I know people who are exhibiting symptoms and are not able to get tested. I think
Yeah.
that is completely wrong. And especially, look, let's even throw the moral argument aside, which is that South Korea, the reason they have been able to flatten their curve is by making hundreds of thousands of tests, millions of tests available to its population so that if anybody, asymptomatic carriers, which is what we're most worried about here in the United States, can self-quarantine and then everybody else can go about our daily lives. How do we get out of this situation? That's how we test everybody. Everybody who tests positive, they stay home. Everybody else, you can go to work. And all of us can have the reasonable public trust that because we've all been tested, maybe we can all wear a bracelet that shows whether we've been tested or whatever or not. And we can show that and be like, look, we're good. I mean, that's how you build public trust in these situations. And more importantly, we got to get people back to work. We got to get
Right.
people back into we need to get our economy working again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Josh Barro actually wrote a piece about this that, if we can get everyone tested and know what's what, then you don't have to have the entire country shut down and the economic calamity that comes with that. So hopefully we can get to that point and not just for NBA players. All right, we'll have more rising for you though after this.